Well, I'm Jean Howie. When the Blitz was on, I was 10 years of age. I had been evacuated to Southport on the 1st of September, which was a Friday. We said goodbye to my mum and I went to school. She left me at the gate of the house and we went off on the train to Southport, and we had to stand in a queue, and they knocked on people's houses to see if they'd take evacuees in. We were called evacuees, even though we were only from Bootle. And the people we stayed with were very nice, but they didn't have children of their own. And we used to get porridge on Tuesday and Thursday and a cup of tea. The rest of the week we didn't get any tea in the mornings. At night time we got 2 rounds of bread with sometimes dandelion leaves in between, and that was the meal. But we got a cup of tea as well. My brother Ted was only just turned 6, and because he was slow at eating and there'd be half a round of bread on the plate, they used to ask me to eat it. And I felt awful eating it, but they'd have given it to one of the others, because there were another family of 2, a boy and a girl, Stan and Francis Alty, living with us also, but they didn't stay there too long. They went back home. But we stayed for 3.5 years in that house until all the Blitz and everything had finished. I was in bed one night and I was tossed out of bed, up in the air onto the floor. A bomb, or a landmine I should say, was dropped just across the road away from us, and a mum and daughter of 14, who was a friend of mine, were killed. The 2 houses in Hartwood Road were bombed. And we were living with a man of 70 odd, and his daughter was nearly 50, spinster, and if he heard the sirens going in the distance, he would get us all down and we'd have to go under the stairs, standing up, till he heard the planes going back to Germany. When I was 2.5, we lived in Chelsea Road, and a lady at the top behind Ross's shop, but the entrance was in Chelsea Road, seemed to be very fond of me, and I used to go to her house behind Ross's, and she used to look after me. She would give me 2 shillings each time I went to visit her. And when I got home, my mother took the 2 shillings off me and gave me a halfpenny. So I was glad I didn't have to share then at that time, because later on, when I used to go, and there were 4 of us, she used to take the money off me, the 2 shillings, leave me with a penny. So I would go down to the little sweet shop in Windsor Road. We lived in Wolfenden Avenue, and that is just behind, and buy whichever sweets you got the most of for a penny. And we used to sit on the back step and share them out. So that was my portion of the 2 shilling piece. Well, we were very nervous. We were evacuated in St Luke's Road, 7 of us, when the elderly gentleman heard the planes going over. He got us all out of bed and we went under the stairs, and of course we had to stand up because there wasn't room for anybody to sit down. There was also a great big dog called Mickey, and it used to smell the place out. And we had to stand there. We couldn't get out, we weren't allowed out. But we stayed under the stairs until the old gentleman, Mr. Parkinson, heard the planes going back over to Germany. And in May 1940, they bombed Bryant and May, a factory that made all the matches. So that went up and was completely destroyed. My dad was in the Merchant Navy, and he could never ever say where he was when he wrote home. And we never knew until he came home where he had been. His ship used to take the troops out to wherever they were fighting. He was torpedoed 3 times. We came home in May 1943. We were very glad to be home. But when the war was over, everybody was ecstatic. And there were parties, everybody had a party, and we all contributed to this party in the wide entries that we had. And there were all took our tables outside and our chairs, and women gave whatever they could, dancing all night, and we were all absolutely ecstatic. We were. I can remember the feeling now, because we'd been so limited to what we could do. Everywhere was blacked out during the war. You had blackout curtains, and if there was a tiny bit of light, you would find they had men working, just that was their job, just to go round to check that lights were out. And of course you couldn't have the lights from the lamps in the streets. They had to be blacked out as well, and all you could see was the ground, so you could walk along.